So let's get started. CFA Level 3 classes for the June 2013 exam. I'll first give you an overview about the approach that we'll use, and then we'll jump into the first topic. Okay, so the basic approach. The approach is going to be curriculum based. So I'm not going to make references to any study notes. This doesn't mean that you can't use study notes. Those who want to use notes can do so. But what I'll try and do is base all my lectures on the curriculum. I'll point out what I think are the most important points, and some examples we'll do in class. Other examples from the curriculum I'll expect you to do after you go home, or those who are listening online can have the curriculum open and work through examples as they are listening to the lecture. So lots of focus on curriculum examples. After you listen to a lecture, the expectation is that you go home and do the practice problems after each reading in the curriculum. If you have a lot of time and you want to supplement this with other practice material, then you can use Schwezer or whatever study notes you use. We'll have a quiz after every 2 or 3 study sessions. So the point is that I expect you to stay with the class. If you leave everything to the end, that might have worked at level 1, but as you progress through levels, it becomes harder and harder. With level 2, you realize that it's a little harder. A lot of people say that level 2 is the hardest and level 3 becomes easier, but I actually disagree. I think level 3 is the hardest. The reason is, in level 3, you have to do these structured response questions, so you actually need to read a long case, and then you need to write. And for most people in Pakistan and others who are not native English speakers, for some reason, writing is difficult. And writing is not something, or writing the way the CFA Institute wants you to write, is not something that can happen overnight. Overnight, you can learn a theory and learn how to answer multiple choice questions, possibly, but overnight you cannot learn how to create a structured response. So especially if you are weak at something like this, those who are attempting this exam a second time maybe, will probably realize that you need practice over an extended period of time to be able to do well on these structured response questions. Now, speaking of structured response, the CFA Institute has some expectation about how you respond. And very briefly, you need to be to the point and brief, and maybe give answers in bullet point format. And the way you learn how to do that is through the quizzes. And very early in our study exercise, I'll introduce you to past papers, the past mock exams. And those past mock exams will give you a very good indication of what your responses need to be like. Okay, now the strategy, generally, especially for those who are listening online, I would suggest that you have the curriculum open in front of you as you listen to the lectures. And if possible, you should also have a hard copy of the notes. So every lecture has the underlying PowerPoint material. So if you have a hard copy when you are listening to the lecture, then you can just jot down your notes on that hard copy. Either you can do that, or I don't know if you've noticed, but the curriculum has lots of white space. Why do you think they've left all that white space? So you can take notes over there. All right, so take notes during class. All right, now, after class, I want you to go back and review the material and do the examples and practice problems. Here is the planned schedule. So we are actually going to run through the sequence in the curriculum. I'm skipping 1 and 2 initially because 1 and 2 is ethics, and you've already done ethics twice. And obviously you have passed, which is why you are here. So there is no point talking about the code and standards because you know them, and I expect you to study that material on your own. Study session 2 is again based on ethics. It's more case study oriented, and that we will do at the end. Nothing radically different there, so should not be an issue for you. So we are going to start with study session 3, which is behavioral finance, and run through the order in the curriculum. Some other people try to jump the order, but I don't see the point of doing that because the curriculum had some logic in arranging this a certain way, so let's respect that and follow the same order. And this is your first date that you need to get ready for. So your first quiz is on 11th December, and it will cover the study sessions 3, 4, and 5. All right. As I mentioned earlier, this video lecture will be ready within 48 hours of each class. I'll try and make it much faster than that, but I would like to promise something that I can always deliver. If you want a particular concept or question to be addressed in a video, in a lecture over here, then you send me that before class. So if you send this to me before class, then what I can do is actually incorporate it in the lecture. Otherwise, you are essentially relying on my judgment in terms of the most important material, which, given that you are here, might be a reasonable thing to do. Okay, now, I don't know if you've noticed my new website or not, but one of the things that I want to do is make this study a little more collaborative. And one of the features that we'll have, or we now have in the website, and it's going to be refined, is we plan to have, for every reading, I'll have a page. The videos, sometimes a given reading can have 2 or 3 parts, 2 or 3 videos. So all those videos will be on that page. And then at the bottom of that video page is a comments section, comments, question section. So what you can do after listening to a video, if you have questions, issues, comments, just post it right there. And even if I down the line have something to add to that reading, I can put it on that reading page. The advantage of this is it's completely open. So anybody can post a question. If you want to remain anonymous, you don't even have to put your name. The idea is anybody can collaborate. So put your question there, and then somebody else can go in and respond to that question. This is not a commitment from me that I'll respond to every question, because this time I'm running 3 levels and doing level 3 for the first time, so I'm going to be swamped. But I'm hoping that there are enough brains in here that people can answer each other's questions. What I'm doing is providing that platform. Okay, so take advantage of this. Now, for any help and support, any administrative issues about class timing or paying your fees or things like that, people who are coming for classes over here in Karachi, your contact is Wakil. So this is his email ID, this is his phone number, so you contact him. For online students, so those who are listening to the video lectures, support@arifirfanullah.com is your email, and this is a US-based number that you can call if you have any issues. Any academic questions can come straight to me, so I will deal with them. And as I mentioned, for on my website, any general updates will be posted there, plus any reading specific items will be on the website. Okay, so that is it in terms of our overview. Any questions on how we are going to run these sessions? No questions? Everyone ready?